Good morning, Twitch. It's Captain Nabs here with you once again. Welcome to another Twitch stream here. Today we're doing yet another Canadian Express Orbx tour leg. Today we're doing leg number 45. This is the leg from Sherbrooke up to Trois-Rivières. It's not a very long leg. It's only about a half an hour flight. It's about 100 miles across the river, I believe, something to that effect. It's not a very long flight at all. But this could prove to be one of the more interesting legs of the tour, and not because of the scenery, because the scenery is probably going to get pretty boring because of the cloud deck that's out there. It's okay here in Sherbrooke, where the airplane is parked right now. However, out in Trois-Rivières, at last check, it was broken clouds at 200 feet. Apparently, that's just lifted to overcast at 500 feet, and 5 miles viz, so it should be good enough to get in. Hopefully that fog is going to continue to dissipate as the morning rolls in, but there is a chance we may not make it and have to divert to our alternate. So this could be a bit of one of the more interesting ones. I think we're probably going to be okay. It seems like the weather trend is upwards, so I'm pretty confident that we're probably going to be okay. But nevertheless, it could be an interesting leg. So stay tuned. I'm just going to do a quick little audio check. So you're going to hear a double audio here for a moment, just while I check it and make sure that it is in fact working here in the live stream. Stay tuned. I'm just going to do a quick little audio check. So you're going to. And there you go. If you heard that, that means that my audio is in fact working, and we're going to carry on with yet another leg of the Canadian Express Orbx tour. As you can see, we're doing it in the Majestic Q400. Great airplane, extremely flexible, and just perfect for a lot of legs in the tour. It's got reasonably long legs, but also some decent short field performance. It's a little bit big for some of the legs that are in this tour, and as we go further along here, we're probably going to have to switch to a smaller aircraft. Probably the PC-12 will be my next aircraft of choice. After Trois-Rivières, we go to Capt, which is a fairly small airport. I think I'm going to have a hard time squeezing a dash in there. So some of the next couple legs we might start to switch to some smaller aircraft. And also once we get out west, I'm hoping to pick up something from A2A, perhaps a small GA aircraft to bomb around, because we visit a lot of small aircraft out west. And I like it. I like the idea of visiting these small airports, but even the Dash, which is one of my favorite airplanes to fly, is going to be way too big to get to some of these airports. Even this airport is a bit of a stretch to really park the Dash here. I managed to get it in here. I've reloaded it exactly where I left it the other day. We're going to get in and out without having to repo the airplane or slew it around, but it is a challenge. It's a pretty big airplane. I had to switch to the external view to make sure we weren't going off the taxiway. Anyways, without further ado, we are going to get started here. And actually, I'm just going to recheck something on my channel here. Alright, and without further ado, yes, we're going to get started here. As always, we're going to power up the airplane here. Sherbrooke, Quebec is a relatively busy little GA airport in the southeastern corner of Quebec, but it's not a particularly big airport overall. I'm going to say that they probably don't have too much ground power for us. And so we're just going to go ahead and fire up the APU for this. I'll wait for all that to turn on.
Bank angle.
So the aircraft is booting up. The APU starter has finished cycling. I can probably reset these things in case you get a fire warning. And there goes the generator, and we're good to go. We got our aircraft powered up. Let's go ahead and get this party started here. Now, one thing I had made a note about last time when I was doing a live stream, and I think I finally fixed it. I don't care about the cabin PA so much, but it was just the music, the never-ending music, because even once I took off, it seemed like it would never end, and that was starting to bug me a little bit. I won't lie. I guess we got to turn all these screens on too. Because this is what normally most operators do, is they turn off the screens when they power down the airplane. It helps save wear and tear, especially when they leave the airplane with the ground power on, just to help save wear and tear on the screens. We got about 5,500 pounds of fuel. That is what we're looking for, so we can go ahead and put that seatbelt sign on. Should get those recirc fans back on. All right. And I think it's a pretty reasonable morning in Quebec. I don't think we need the aircraft lead system. All right. We're going to prepare for a flap 15 departure today, if I can find my... There we are. And as always, we're dealing with about 59 59,500 pound takeoff is the plan today. We'll just use 60,000 pound numbers. The whole Orbx tour is being done with very heavy aircraft, and oftentimes I do lug a fair bit of extra fuel, but especially today I've lugged about 40, I think I lugged about 45 minutes. I rounded up to almost 45 minutes of extra fuel. Just in case the weather deteriorates, we can hold a little bit before we divert to our alternate of Montreal. So that's kind of the plan. I'm hoping it doesn't come down to that, but nevertheless, I did it once before on the Orbx tour. It was a good challenge. I mean, this sort of stuff happens in aviation. At least here, the alternate is Montreal. It's less than 100 miles away. When I did the diversion last time, I forget where I was, but I was somewhere in Iqaluit. I mean, somewhere in Nunavut. And yeah, I diverted back into the Yukon Territory because that was the closest airport that had reasonably VFR conditions. Like, it was that far. I didn't use my actual filed alternate because the weather in my filed alternate had kind of deteriorated a little bit. It wasn't improving, and I wasn't quite sure I was going to really make it in. So yeah, it was that was definitely a challenge. That was an hour and 15 minutes. I think I flew to the alternate after I'd already flown the flight, and then I had to fly back the next time I had the chance to go flying to get back on track. So it was a challenge, but it was one that I gladly accepted. I think, you know, in this business, not everything goes according to plan, and when things don't go according to plan, you roll with the punches. You take what happens, and you say, okay, well, what are we going to do now? All right, so let's see here. Field elevation here is basically somewhere between 750 and 790, so we're going to say 1800 for our flat protraction here. So we're going to go ahead and roll that MDA up there, up to 1800. And what am I looking for here? Yeah, let's just do this. Where's my PFD view? Because it just makes it easier to set everything. Okay, so I got 1800, and I need the local altimeter. I think I looked it up here. Sherbrooke this morning, 3007. A little bit of high pressure, nothing crazy. A couple days, and there'll be the remnants of Tropical Storm Florence, or Hurricane Florence, or whatever. By then, it's going to be a post-tropical low Florence. By the time it gets all the way here, still going to probably make life pretty wet here for a little while. All right, and I don't believe we have a SID here in Sherbrooke today, so we're just going to, let's see here, let's have a look at the charts and see what kind of altitudes here. MSAs, wow, 4,900 feet, so I would say we'd have to set the level off altitude to at least 5,000 feet initially, so we'll do that. And we'll go ahead and get the go-around bars up, arm the heading alt cell, and turn the yaw damper on. And the winds today are calm. Given our direction of flight, we're going to backtrack and depart runway 31, which has a magnetic heading of 316. So we'll go ahead and set that on there. That's pretty much what we landed at. Yeah, that's the way we landed the airplane when we came here. I think it was last week I was here. Alright, interesting. Alright. So we got that all done. All the switches are normal. First officer has to turn that on whenever he sits down. I'm going to come back to the FMS in a minute. All these switches are all in normal positions. Brakes on. Going to reset the elevator trim because it should be in the white takeoff band there. And let's make sure we got 22.8. We're listing on that. We got 2,000 for the squawk code. Alright. And again, short leg, simple flight plan. We could just bring this up and then type in Sherbrooke again, although we'll probably end up taking more key presses just to find that. So this is the route I picked off of SimBrief here, SC, and then I believe it was Foxtrot 8, and it should be down here at the bottom of the screen, Victoriaville. 38 miles, well, that makes sense. And then, is it YRQ or RQ? What does it say at the bottom of the screen, guys? It says YRQ. And last but not least, CYRQ for Trois-Rivières. Hopefully we can find that when we get there. Alright, fuel situation here. Alright, so where's my flight plan? Pull that up. Alright, today our alternate requires Only 994 pounds, 994. Holding fuel today is 1445. We don't plan on extra fuel. Our ZFW today from our systems panel here is going to be 54003. And it's going to give us a gross takeoff weight. Gross weight right now sitting on the runway of 59,000. Yeah. And we're still in daylight savings time, so the local time zone is -4. That's about it. We're pretty much set up and ready to go. I'm just going to cross-fill the flight plan, and I just realized that I need to reset my date and time here in the sim. Alright. But we're ready to do a brief here for the departure. So, this is going to be a, let's see here, this will be a 60,000 pound flap 15 takeoff with no icing considerations. Takeoff power is going to be normal takeoff power and leads on 90%. Speeds, let's see here, V1 117, VR 117, V2 117, V5 128, V climb 151. The level off altitude is 1800 feet ASL. Running master warning, engine failure, direction control. As you prior to V1, Cockpit will stop the aircraft on the runway to deal with the emergency in the event of an engine failure after V1 is considered an flight emergency. No index prior to 1800 except for raising the gear at 1800. We level off, accelerate to V5, track the flaps, and continue V climb to 5,000 feet. Once established in the climb will actually emergency. In the event of an immediate return, we're not going to land here. Any kind of emergencies, we're going to go off to either Montreal or Quebec City. I'm just going to pull up SkyVector for a second and just look and see what's closer. If I can find where I am here on SkyVector. There is Sherbrooke. It's about the same distance. If anything, it's a wee bit closer to Quebec City. That being said, Montreal's got better services. It's really about the same. So I'm going to say we'll go to Montreal because it's got the better services. You know, it's a more major airport. So any kind of emergency after departure, we'll head to Montreal. So less than 100 miles, so we should be able to get there pretty quickly. The departure today is going to be runway 31 out of Trois-Rivières. We're going to climb on runway heading. Let's just see if there's anything on the departure procedures for 31. No right turns below 1800. So once we get past 1800, we can start a right turn. Our MSAs are 4900, so we'll watch the terrain and look for 4900 feet before we finish the turn on course. And that's about all I've got, I think. If we take off in the direction of 3-1, I'm just having a quick look at a VFR chart here. There's a few, there's definitely a few spot heights up into the 21s, 23s. 2,700 feet should be more than sufficient altitude to get us established on course without too much trouble. And that's all I've got. FO, as always, does not have any questions whatsoever. You know, you really don't contribute much to this conversation. Alright, originating before start check. Actually, before we do that, I just have one more thing I want to look at here. Just a quick NOTAM check. Sherbrooke, approach lighting system on 13. Trois-Rivières. Jet aircraft start unit is not available temporarily. And the RNAV to runway 23, the LPV minima are not authorized. If I can't go down to LPV, how low can I go in Trois-Rivières? LNAV, we're looking at 600 feet, about 415 AGL, so not, we're going to need about a 400, 500 foot ceiling to do this. The trend is up. Hopefully it will play itself out. Alright, anyways, yeah. So let's do the originating before start check. External power APU, so we got the APU is on, the recirc fan is on, emergency lights are armed, and the anti-skid is on. The external checks are complete. The gear pins are stowed. Alt gear door and landing gear inhibit switch is closed and norm. And nav database updates are complete. The flight deck preparation is complete left and right. The originating before start check is complete, and the before start check. And for this one, we start with the circuit breakers. Check on the left. And check on the right. Escape hatch is closed. Battery master main aux standby is on. And seat belts are on. Flight taxi is, let's see here. There it is. Taxi. Yaw damper's on. Fuel quantity is 5,700 pounds. That checks. Emergency brake pressure is on and checked. Power levers are disc. And I should actually reset all these. Condition levers are fuel off, and the takeoff briefing is complete. They seem to be fairly well synced today, because I've had problems with this in the past where they're not well synced. They seem to be synced today. Seem to move nicely in unison. Alright, that's going to set off some issues. I know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to do a full range of motion check there. Alright. And the before start checklist is complete. Ready for the start approved check whenever we get the doors closed. So let's go ahead and check that doors page on the synoptic. Alright, we got the baggage door still open. So let's go ahead and close that. Alright, that one's closed. Let's close the forward passenger door. And you should see that light go out. When you get 6 green, you're good to start. Doesn't always want to do it the first try. I don't think it did it. Let's try it again. This time I think it worked. I got the prepared message. That light should go out. We should get 6 green. 6 green, the lights are out. Alright, we're good for the start approved check. Alright, nose steering is off. Transponder is staying standby on the apron here. Doors and fueling lights are out. APU bleed is off, and the anti-collision's going to... There it is, red. Start approved check is complete, and once again, let's actually do it this way. We start right engine first. Clear on 1. Yes, starting 1. Correction, starting 2. This is my first day here or something. Get that back to the electrical page. Alright, looks like we got some fuel. We got some fuel to the fire. We got some light off. It's looking good. A morning of flying without coffee would be a tragedy of a grand scale. So if I stop talking for a moment, it's probably because I'm taking a sip of my coffee. Alright. Looks pretty stable. And let's just check the electrical loads. Looks like the batteries are mostly charged. This should be down. This should be down below 0.4 before we start the second engine, but it never seems to go down in this sim. So let's go ahead. Oops, clear on 2. Clear on 1. I don't know why I can't get this in order today. Clear on 1, starting 1. Rotations up. Condition lever forward. Phil, yes, absolutely. Doing anything in the morning without coffee is really a sadistic notion, but flying especially, I couldn't imagine flying an airplane without coffee. Alright. It looks like we've got 2 good starts here. Make sure the start select light goes out. Boom. Let's bring up those condition levers. Oops. Didn't mean to hit that one. And let's get out of here. Take off the APU. Alright, unfeather the props. Alright, AC gen lights are out. Let's go ahead the after start checklists. And the FO's got to do all sorts of stuff. Get the bleeds on, like the pneumatic system module teaches us, for those that watch the video. Let's see here, we're going to do flap. Flap 15. Alright, we're going to run this one as a first flight of the day. So we're going to turn off the number 1 RUD system and make sure that we can move the rudder, and it does move. I don't know if you can see it in the corner of the synoptic there, but it does move when I move the rudder pedals. even just with one system turned off. Now we turn off the number 2 system, and again we should get the number 2 red hide caution light. And we do get the rudder pedals to move there, and even with both systems on, it looks like it moves good. Alright, perfect. And a flight control check. Elevators, ailerons. I'm not sure. Oh, that's why. When I advanced the power levers before just to test them out, to test my calibration, the flight taxi switch automatically went to flight, and that's why my spoilers were up. But that's okay, we got that figured out. Turn that off, close that up. Don't know why that didn't come on. And alright. We do no steering. Let's do after start checklist. After start checklist. So start select light is out, and external power and APU are both off. Bleed air 1 and 2 is min and on. Ice protection is standard right now. Caution and warning lights check. Battery temps and loads are what am I doing? They're on here. Check. Tank oxygen 1 and 2 are on. Auto feather is AS selected. Engine rating is normal takeoff power 90% with the bleeds on. High press and quantity, check. High speed elevators are checked. Flight controls were checked and free, and the de-ice pressure checks. Flap is 15 set and indicated. The condition levers are max. No steering is on. Radar navcom is all set, and the PFD, MFD, ED, no flags. The after start checklist is complete. Alright, and away we go. Uncontrolled airport. Looks like we're fogging up in here pretty bad. Not that one. That one. Alright, looking good to taxi. I don't see anybody around the aircraft. Alright, let's get out of here. And let's go ahead and get the taxi light on. And try and squeeze out here without getting the wheels off the pavement or hitting anybody's airplane. It's a nice looking Cardinal. Wouldn't want to hit it. Looking good over there? I hope so. Oh yeah, lots of room over there. It is a bit of a chore taking this dash to some of these smaller airports. I like the flying that I get to do. Alright, just gotta click, there you go. Get the audio back. I like the flying. And it's a great airplane for covering the distances in a reasonable amount of time. It's got a great FMC with a good, good avionics package built in. But trying to taxi this thing around some of these smaller airports, wow. Alright, just going to do a quick radio call on Unicom here. Alright, while we're rolling, taxi check. Taxi light is on the altimeters. 3007, 1, 2, and 3 set. And, let's see here. Takeoff. Warning is, test. And we'll say that the flight attendant's called cabin secure. The, taxi checklist is complete. Comes to hold a short line. I'm looking both ways down the runway. I don't see anybody coming. We're going to go ahead and enter the runway. Strobes on. Alright, very good. We're going to backtrack full length 3-1. Don't think the intersection departure would work too well for us here. Not too much of a fillet on there, so we're going to go deep into this turn before we try and turn down the runway there. I'm taxiing really slowly, but again, the size of this aircraft versus the size of this airport, I want to do my best to keep it on the pavement, as I'm sure everyone would like to see. There's a lot of weight on those wheels, and if the ground is at all soft, you get off the edge of the pavement, those wheels will just sink right in. And then you gotta call the boss, you gotta talk to him about why, and I hear that the guy that runs Canadian Express, he's a real stickler. He's gonna probably fire me if I don't keep it on the pavement, so better make sure I do. I'm just joking, Mark. Alright. Definitely looking like fall here in Quebec now. A lot of yellow trees out there. It's still early September, but I guess if you go far enough north, you're going to start to see things changing. I don't know why this is really counting down. Oh, there is a turnaround bay up here. I didn't realize there was a turnaround bay. We'll use that to our advantage. Do our best to line up and use the full length. It's not a short runway here. I think it's like 4,800 feet. I could look on the chart right now, but it's something around there. So it's not really a super short runway for this aircraft, but it's short enough. You don't want to be... You want to be using every inch of runway that you do have available, especially if you had to abort for some reason. Alright, so we'll do the lineup check. Cabin crew, please be seated for takeoff. Alright, lineup check. FA notification is PA. Transponder is going to go to on alt. And TCAS is TA only. MFDs are terrain. Bleed air is min and on. We're doing pretty good here. And the flight taxi is going to flight. Lineup check is complete. Not going to be a bad lineup, I don't think. Pretty good. Pretty close. Alright, lights. Everybody ready? Alright, away we go. Alright, takeoff, check power. Power is set. $80 knots. Checked. B1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. This is an airplane that I really need rudder pedals for because you need a lot of right rudder after takeoff until you start to make the power reductions. And the second I stop playing with the joystick that provides my rudder inputs right now and try to just grab the control column, it immediately has to swerve to the left. Alright, there's 1700, so let's go flaps 0. Do bleeds on. And climb power. And select the autopilot. There's definitely some terrain out here. We got pitch hold. Alright, so we get up to 2700. We should be above most of that terrain. We'll go ahead and start a right turn on course. And for some reason I didn't notice that this is not sequenced. There we go. And it's actually not even, we don't even need a turn on course because we're actually on course, just going straight ahead to the NDB. I didn't realize it was off the end of the field straight ahead, which is even better. Fantastic. I love the nice straight ahead climb. It's easy. Alright, coming up to 5,000, we're going to go ahead and climb up to our cruise altitude of 12,000. Still no ATC online. Again, no surprise for this time of day. Phil, I'm going to be heading through the Toronto FIR soon, so if you see me online, I'm going to be expecting some ATC soon enough. Not today. I think I got about one more leg. I think the next leg of the next leg of this tour, I start to fly through Ontario. Hopefully I'll be able to get some early morning ATC. I fly at the worst possible time for getting ATC online, but it is what it is. It's life. I'll be expecting hold clearances every time, probably. Alright, let's do the after takeoff checklist. Alright, the after takeoff checklist is landing gear is up, flap 0, climb power is set, and bleed air is norm and on. Auto feather is off, tank ox pumps are off, height pumps are norm, engine temps and pressures, everything looks good and green, check. Ice protection is standard plus windshield. What's the temperature outside now? It's 13 degrees out there. It's pretty warm. I'll throw the prop on just so I don't miss it. Props and windshield. Cabin press and temp controls check, and the FA notification is chimed. After takeoff checklist is complete. Alright, we're on our way to Trois Rivières. This is a short flight. It's 80 miles. It's not far at all. And Phil, I don't know at what point you tuned in there, but anyways, the challenge today is going to be whether or not we actually make it into Trois Rivières. The last update I got through on my briefing anyway said that the ceiling was 200 feet overcast. So making it into our destination might be a challenge. You might get to watch me do a go-around and have to divert to Montreal, but the trend was up. I did check the trend. The trend is definitely up, so hopefully that fog will lift before we get there. Hoping, anyways. I need 400. I need about 420 feet to do the LNAV VNAV minima, so we're looking for about a 400-foot ceiling in Trois Rivières. Let's see what we've got here, actually, now that we're airborne. Actually, we're coming up to 10,000. Let's do that first. 10,000. So we go lights out. Pressurization checks. We've got 424, essentially. And seatbelts. Yeah, looks pretty good out here. We'll go seatbelts off for the flight. It's a short flight anyway. It's not like people are going to have time to do much. Alright, now let's do a quick little weather check. Get my FO to do the weather check. Actually, I can do it on here, can't I? I keep forgetting that I have the capability of doing it in here. It's actually really a nifty feature. Unilink text weather. Sending. And I have a new message. There we go, 1400 weather, 6 miles in mist, overcast at 400 feet. Oh, it's gonna be tight. Oh, it's gonna be tight. 21 degrees, 20 degrees, 299er. Let's go ahead and set that already because we're gonna be. We'll set that overhead this Fox 8 beacon here. That'll be at the halfway mark. And do I have the whole TAF here? See, the TAF is not bad. It's calling for 4 miles in mist, broken at 400, and over the next hour becoming +6. No significant weather view at 1,000. So it is the trend is up. We're hopefully gonna make it, but I do enjoy a challenge. There's Alt 12,000. I do enjoy a challenge, and if we had to do the go around, Montreal's not far from Trois Rivières. It's only like another 80 miles again, so it won't add much to this length of this flight. All right, seeing a little bit of the Quebec countryside out there, though. It's not terrible. Not a terrible day. So we're basically going to start briefing this arrival already because we're going to need to do it very soon here. Let's do a quick little performance check. Actually, before we do anything else, let's get the cruise check out of the way. Bring the condition levers back and do the cruise check. Oh, let's see here this morning. Cruise check altimeters. We got 3007, 1, 2, and 3 set. And power we've got set. Fuel efficiency program we're not considering. Fuel, it looks like we're coming overhead with Trois Rivières with 4,700. We planned lots of extra fuel for this one. 2,300 extra pounds at this showing at this point, just in case we do have to hold for a short period of time and wait for the weather to improve. Where's my cruise check here? Alright, so seatbelts are off. Lights are all as required. The cabin press, again, checks 12,000 feet. We should pretty much be almost cruising at sea level, 2,000 feet here, give or take. Ice protection is standard plus props and windshield. 24-hour ice test we should probably do. First flight of the day, so we'll do it. So basically, the test, half the test is already done. The windshield heat, run for 5 minutes. Make sure that it does not cause any issues. Let's turn on the increased ref switch. Of course, you see the increased ref switch on. Marker come down there. Let's go into manual and let's go inflate the boots one at a time, and while we're doing this, we're also watching for the prop heat to come back on at some point. The alternative is we could throw the prop heat over into test mode. And then we're going to do a fast and start the timer. Should be 6 seconds per stage here, and you should be able to compare it to the timer. It's hard to do in this. You have to zoom out so much to see the timer and the segments at the same time. There, I can kind of see them. They're probably covered up by my top and bottom borders here, and there goes the prop heat. But you should get 6 seconds per stage. Engine switch now, and then 6 more seconds and it'll be off, and after 1 minute in fast mode it should restart. So you're checking the timer as well as to make sure all the different boots inflate. One thing you also check for, and it doesn't really work in the sim, but you check for the bumps. So you go down to the de-ice pressure, and you should see a little pressure bump, a drop of about 3 psi each time the valves switch and a new system is a new set of boots is being filled. So let's see here. We're going to get to 1 minute here in a couple of seconds. So you're going to see these come back on. There we go. So if we go to the ice pressure, 3, 4, 5. So right about now you should see, both sides should just drop like about 3 psi, and then immediately as soon as the boots fill, they go right back up again. Something that they never simulated in the Majestic Q. These are like, this is a very subtle kind of like, if you didn't know the airplane well, didn't know the procedures, you wouldn't know this stuff. But anywho, if you want to be a stickler for fidelity, you should see and look for, usually the captain watches the boots all inflate and calls out the times, and then the FO's watching to make sure that there's a pressure drop at each one. If there's no pressure drop, that might indicate that something's not filling properly. Anywho, approaching that red line there finally. Let's get the power back a bit. Don't need to be this close to the red line. Alright, and let's get ready for that arrival already into Trois Rivières. So we said it was overcast 400 feet and 210 at 12. So I believe that does favor one particular runway here. That's runway 23. Perfect. So let's do that. Let's flight plan menu arrive. Let's plan on runway 23 in Trois Rivières. Approach, we'll do the RNAV. I'm pretty sure it's going to get us down lower. The transition is going to be via Alluro as the left-hand base, which is what we're going to want. I'll load up the NDB chart, but I'm going to assume that the RNAV, the straight-in RNAV is going to now. The NDB needs, you got 680 feet now. This is going to be the best minimums we can get. So after YRQ, at some point we're going to cut over to Alluro, and then, yeah, Bexon. Okay, good. So we got that in there. Of course, we do a RAIM check if we were actually doing this, but we're not. It's funny, I'm just looking at the RNAV to runway 05, and that's an interesting approach. There's a, I guess, a military operations area just on the south side of the river, south of the airport. The approach to runway 05 is a very slanted approach to avoid that, to avoid that airspace. I've never seen too many that look like this, but here it is. This is the approach to 05, and it's got this nice big curve to avoid this restricted airspace. Here, the only thing we have to do is if we do the overshoot, we have to make sure we turn away right away. So we're going to be doing this one, the RNAV runway 23. Let's see here. So we got MDA, LNAV MDA of 620. Sorry, I just realized that rudder trim is way out. Okay, LNAV MDA of 620. So we're going to set that. And we're going to pick up some landing speeds, and I think what we'll do is we'll go direct to that Alluro fix right now because we need Alluro because we need to start getting set up for a descent and everything else. So we're going to go direct to Alluro and VNAV to let's see here, Alluro. If we try to cross Bexan at, let's just cross Alluro at 2900. That's the MSA. Ha! We need to start down now. Okay, let's do it. 100 mile safe is 6,000, so let's do it. too long already to plan this out. Okay, with the power back, we're looking at a 59,000 pound landing. Let's get some 59,000 pound speeds in there. So we're going to do 59,000 pound. Ref 35 will get us a little slower, which just helps with the spotting the runway. It's a little bit more annoying for the go-around, but it helps with spotting the runway. So we'll do the flap 35. Not that we need it for performance, more for the nose-down attitude you get with it. And then 26 and 50. 26 and 50 are set. Alright, and that's about it, I think. So we are going to be doing the RNAV runway 23 here into... probably go down even steeper at this point. RNAV runway 23 into Trois-Rivières. The speeds are set 17, 13, 26, and 50. And let's see here. The safe altitude for 100 miles is 6,000, which is what we're descending to now. The the approach course is 227. That should be already in the FMS. 230, 227. Yeah, that's all in there. The minimum altitude at Alexa is 2,000, and the landing distance available is 9,000 feet. We have lots of landing distance. We just need to make sure we get down in time here. 2,900 foot MSA, pretty much all sectors around the runway. Once we're past Allura, we can go down to 2,000, and yeah, and proceed in down from there. We can slow down at that point. The missed approach is climb to Udnog, track 227, and then Cavim on a track of 264 at 2,700 feet. Touchdown zone elevations at 199 feet. The MSA is 620, which is 423 feet above ground. So at least the visibility is good enough that we can try this approach. Don't have to worry about the approach band. And terrain, again, 2,900 feet. Weather, we're definitely within 25 miles. We can go down to 2,900. Weather is about the requirements to do the approach. We may or may not get in. The weather at our alternate is fine. And operational, not too many NOTAMs here. The approach light existing for the other direction is out of service, but this one's okay. That's all I've really got for this briefing. Fuel is good. We're golden. We've got over 4,000 pounds of fuel. We only need about, what do we say we needed here? We only need 2,500 to go, so we got 1,500 extra easily right now. We can hold for at least 30 minutes before we have to go to Montreal. And that's about it. The restriction on the plate is that I have to cross Allura at 210 knots or less, so we definitely need to start slowing this thing up. We'll just shallow out that descent. We'll be fine. This looks like we're actually... We're started... If we had started much later, we'd probably be kind of screwed on this descent, but we're okay right now. We're through 10,000. We need seat belts and lights on. And I'm going to turn on the taxi light because we're not going to get anybody else to tell us to. Let's see here. And approach checklist. So the altimeters to... What did I say? 2,999er? 2,999er. Gotta get those set. 2,999er. 1, 2, and 3 set. We're going to continue down to 2,000 feet and then intercept final at 2,000 feet. 2,999er, 3 set. The nav aids are not required. We'll say we did the RAIM check for the GPS. Fuel transfer is off and the tank ox pumps are on. GPW landing flap 35 is selected. Hide quantity checks, caution warning lights check, seatbelts are on, lights are on, and Capt secure will complete the approach checklist. Temperature is really warm out here, so we're going to go ahead and leave the windshield heat on, but we'll turn off the prop heat. Alright, and how are we doing here? Alright, so... Did we actually not cross Allura? It felt like we did a turn. I felt like we did a turn there to cross Allura. We are actually 1.6 miles from Allura. Well, now we could probably shallow out this descent at this point. Get the hide pumps on.
2,500.
And go flap 5. And the FA notification. Cabin crew, please be seated for landing. Wow, that was a rush to get that whole briefing in there, wasn't it? Alt star. Now. do find that the VNAV after this point is problematic at best. Runway 23. Threshold crossing height, so it should be 149.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just started our approach. We would kindly ask you to fasten your seatbelts again and turn off all your electronic equipment.
Can I do that? Nope, it's not going to work. Damn it. Doesn't work the way it's really supposed to in real life here sometimes. FPA too steep. Alright, on the inbound leg, we'll basically have to cross Orbx at 2,000 feet, which is what we're at, so we're good. Got a little slow there while we were not paying attention to what we're doing here. Trying to fight with this VNAV to get it to work. Let's do 800 feet per minute. But we're supposed to cross Orbx. Alright. This might be messy if we have to do a go around. Oh. Alright, let's go ahead and go gear down. Let's get that speed back. 3 green. Flap 10. If we're doing 150 knots, we're going to need about 800 feet per minute. 700 to 800 feet per minute after Orbx. We'll do what we need to do down to our DA of 620. So I'm going to go ahead and set 600 on here right now. Alright, flap 15. And let's do reduced NP, condition levers max. And the landing check with flap 35 to go, so landing check, standby, high press, P2 control are on. Landing gears down 3 green. Flap is 15 set and indicating the condition levers are max. Ice protection is standard, bleed air is min and on, and the FA notification is PA. Landing checklist is complete with the flap 35 to go. Without a good VNAV on here too. The VNAV in this airplane sometimes frankly sucks. It's good to the fixed points, but for the approaches themselves it kind of sucks. Alright, there we go. 700 to 800. It seems to keep on there, but it just doesn't want to track it for some reason. I don't know why. VNAV path, maybe it'll do it for me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Feels like it's doing it. 700-800 feet per minute, that's what it should be. Alright, flap 35. Alright, 35 is set and indicated the landing checklist is complete. Lights are on, we're cleared to land. Here's hoping we see something out there. Because if I have to do a go around, it's probably going to be sloppy. Not well practiced at these at all. Alright, that was 1600 descending 600. At least it's nice and stable in here. The speed's not bouncing around too much. VNAV's actually working not too bad today. I'm a little bit surprised, because oftentimes it doesn't want to work very well on these RNAV approaches. Check. I saw some lights for a split second out there. We might just do this. We might just sneak this in there. See some lights.
500.
100 above. Minimums. Runways in sight. Landing. Oh, she wasn't trimmed. And that VNAV angle was really kind of lousy there. I don't think that VNAV angle was set up properly there.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Always pressing the wrong button there. Alright, wow. That was a little bit high tension there. I was suspicious if we were going to make that. I really didn't think we were going to make that. And then I saw the poppies and I thought we were okay, and then the rest of the runway lights didn't pop out until literally the last possible second. The threshold light suddenly popped up. Alright. Can I taxi in on this? Where's my Toronto Riviera chart? That's my Sherbrooke chart. Did I close it somehow? Or is it on a different page now? There it is. Yeah, that probably would have taken me back. Oh well. We'll just taxi back to the terminal this way. Looks like some custom hangars and stuff here Orbx has done for this airport. Not bad. Not bad at all. That was a close one, though. That was the tightest approach I've had in a long time, although I get the feeling I got some notices this morning that they were Cat 2 ops only in Toronto, so I have a feeling there were a bunch of people this morning who were flying that were doing something similar at work. Ooh. Alright, so they're supposed to have a nice terminal here somewhere. I assume it's up here, maybe? I don't know. I've never been to Toronto Riviera. This is a first for me. So I don't know if this is the right place to park, or if this is the terminal apron up here. I guess it's the terminal up there. Alright, what the heck? Call that the terminal and go there. Alright, and let's go ahead and do the after landing flow. Oh. That's why you need an FO to do this. Oh, mercy. Alright, strobes and landing lights off. And those can come off, that can come off. And main bus tie's tied. We need a little bit slower progress here. Yeah, I guess that's a terminal. As good as you get a terminal at this airport. Alright, let's get that APU up and running. We'll do the actual checklist. After landing checklist. So radar is off. Transponder is standing by. Flap is 0. Control locks are on. Tank aux pumps are off. Yaw dampers off. Light taxi anti-collision is red. All of the lights are as required. Ice detection is all off. Main bus tie is tied, and the APU is on. The shutdown checklist is complete. Fuel guys over there waiting for me. I do like that Orbx has a decent number of static airplanes, and it's a good variety of them. Like, it doesn't look... It looks repetitive sort of from airport to airport when you get there. Like, that Bonanza looks awfully familiar. But there's enough different airplanes out here that I don't feel like I'm constantly seeing the same airplanes over and over again. Oh, there's the red Cardinal. Maybe I am. See if we can get this spun around for the departure again. Hopefully without blocking in the fuel guy. Now I'm just being a a D-bag and just blowing the fuel guy and his fuel pumps around. Alright. I think that's as good as we're getting. Alright, park brake on. Hopefully there's enough room for people to get around us. Alright. Bleeds off. And hydraulic pumps off. Condition levers to start feather. 30 seconds. Alright. And the after landing checklist. Or the shutdown checklist, I should say. The taxi light is off. The transponder is standing by. Emergency brake is set high. Pumps are norm. Power levers are dis. Condition levers to start feather. You want to look over there. Nose steering is off. Now seatbelts are off, and the bleed air is min off. Condition levers 30 seconds. There you go. Fuel off, and lights are all as required. Standby main batteries coming off. Battery master staying on. Lock isolate and emergency parking brake staying on. Shutdown checklist is complete, and we're here. For some reason, there's the oil pressures. There we go. I was wondering when those were going to come in. And we made it to another beautiful Canadian Express, or beautiful Orbx free airport on this Canadian Express tour, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope it was fun. It was definitely one of the more stressful landings I've had in a little while. I did not think we were going to make it. I thought we were going to do a go-around. That VNAV was obviously misaligned somehow. I'm not sure how. I think it was because the runway elevation was selected at the threshold when it's supposed to be 50 feet over, but I don't know how to fix that. With the way that the Orbx, or the way that the Majestic VNAV is set up. VNAV is a tough thing to program, I get it, but I just, you know, if you're not going to do a good job of it, sometimes I just wish they'd leave it out. Anyways, that's it. That's all I've got time for this morning. I've got a few things I've got to go out and do, so thanks very much for watching. We'll see you guys all next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.